If you make over $400,000 per year and you're wanting to get into short-term rentals, but your spouse is not fully aligned on doing this, here's the honest conversation you guys need to have together. So I've now helped over 200 people close on well over 300 homes in the last 4 years. And the number one thing that I see getting in the way from people starting their short-term rental journey is just getting aligned and clarity around what is actually the outcome of doing all this. So the first thing that I think is ambiguous and typically undefined is the tax savings. So what you need to reference and understand is if you're buying $1 million home, as a simple example, let's say the land value is crazy high. Let's say it's around $200,000 or 20% of the purchase price. You'll be able to offset around 35 to 40% of that $800,000 that's left over. Typically, we see ranges of around $250,000 to $350,000 on $1 million homes. That $250,000 to $350,000 is going to be a paper loss offset that you apply against your W-2 income or K-1 income or 1099 income, however you pay yourself or however you get paid. And then you basically need to take that dollar amount and multiply it by the tax bracket or the blended rate of tax brackets that you're in. So if you're in the 37% tax bracket making crazy money and you have $300,000 of offset that you're going to take from that bonus depreciation, well, that's going to be literally around like $106,000 to $115,000 in net effective tax savings. So what you need to look at is if the opportunity to get that amount of tax savings, can you buy that deal for literally under $115,000 all in across the down payment and the closing costs? Well, the reality is you absolutely can't. You can do this with a secondary home loan product. You can put 10% down. You could work with a company like us who's going to go and negotiate for you a massive seller credit, which is an amount coming back to you at closing. So it is something that the seller pays for. They're essentially paying and contributing toward essentially your closing costs and your down payment. So I think this is the number one thing that is the most unclear or ambiguous or not even clearly defined thing that prevents couples from moving forward on their very first short-term rental investment. The number two thing would clearly be, hey, I'm just super freaking scared about doing anything that involves risk. And I think the name of the game with risk for these types of clients is I don't want to do anything that loses money. So how do I guarantee occupancy? How do I get this? How do I get this? The thing I would always share with clients is we look at literally over 1,000 deals per week. So we're looking at around 200, 250, sometimes 300 per day. We are literally disqualifying. When I say 98 to 99% of them, I literally mean out of every 1,000 that we look at, we disqualify 980 of them minimum. Because on average, we'll send 8 to 15 deals to clients every single week. Right now, during our peak season, we're definitely sending closer to like 12 to 20, which is literally like 2 to 5 deals per business day for most days. And the reason we disqualify them is because we just don't feel good about making the deal work in terms of the income versus the expenses. So if you're in the right market, buying the right property type within that market, meaning the right size, you're not competing with 1, 2, 3 bedroom homes. You're typically doing 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bedroom homes with us in our program. You're literally having a shot to gross enough income in the range that home was already maybe doing or slightly or significantly above it, or within the range that a bunch of other similar styled homes and amenitied homes are doing in that submarket. So it's not really this crazy guessing game of like, oh my God, I'm taking so much risk. I've kind of likened it to what fix and flippers do with properties. So you're taking an insane amount of risk. When you buy a home that would normally sell for $450,000, this is just a separate example, a $450,000 home that's completely worn down, you could get that thing from like 180 to 220. And this is what flippers do. They literally know, oh, hey, if we improve the home, if we redo the foundation, if we remodel the bathrooms, if we install a new roof, if we completely demo the kitchen and redo the kitchen and renovate, 5 or 6 other rooms, we can add $250,000 in value to this home. So we can buy this thing for $200, get it fixed in the next 1, 2, 2.5 months, 6 to 12 weeks, whatever it takes them. And then we can go and, get this thing appraised for $450 to $500 or sell it for $450 to $500. And that's calculated risk. What they're doing is they're looking at all the other comps in the market, knowing that, hey, if we make this home quite as nice as this one that has 5 bedrooms, so if we maybe add a bedroom on this one, we'd range in this rate. And if we also add in the underground pool, 5 bedrooms with this underground pool, they typically have a fair market value or after renovation ARV value of something like this range. So you're just competing in these ranges. And that's how fix and flippers or people who do BRRRRs, who buy properties and renovate them or enhance them, they're not really employing much guesswork. They're literally looking at tons of data sets and knowing with great certainty, hey, if I'm going to put in $120,000 of contract labor, parts and material, and everything that I need to do to flip or enhance this home, I need to have some certainty that I'm going to make my spread on this thing. I can't put in all this work and this home appraises for $370. I wouldn't make any money because it would have been a waste. I need to put in enough work to make it worth $450, $500. So the exact same thing is true when we look at short-term rentals. We're specifically trying to find ways to gauge a rank order. There's literally a list of homes in any submarket. If you draw a 5-mile radius, or I would go even tighter than that. Like a 5 block to sometimes 15, 30 block radius, depending upon how saturated and dense that market is. We're literally looking in a rank order list. Oh, the top performer is doing $170,000 a year. Numbers 2 and 3 are doing 130. Numbers 3, 4, 5, and 6 are doing anywhere from 120 all the way down to 108. And then just knowing, hey, well, we have a similar home to these, but we can punch above our weight class just like this home is punching above its weight class with the right amenity or set of blended amenities or other enhancements that they've done to the exterior or the interior of the home. So if you're on the fence and you know that you want to do short-term rentals, you're a high-income earning couple or an individual, I guess this isn't just for couples. This might be you as an individual having this dialogue internally. If you know that you want to get into short-term rentals and you want to get into them for the tax savings, for the cash flow, then you kind of need to, define with clarity, hey, I understand that there are tax savings. I know how to get it. You'll do the short-term rental loophole. So 100 hours of participation, buy and close on the home this year, run it for average 7 days or less for each stay, which will be no issues for all those, literally, unless you're closing on the home December 15th, which you probably won't if you get off your butt and start right now. You shouldn't have any issues. And then the second item would be, so that's the tax stuff. It's pretty straightforward. And then the cash flow, know that you're going to buy this home almost with the mindset of like a fix and flipper, but you're going to put in like $15,000 to $40,000 worth of enhancements. I'm not talking projects where you're like swinging hammers for 6 weeks. Literally not a flip, literally not a renovation. I'm talking 1 to 5 day items that are quite simple. For example, the most common ones that we will see clients do are exterior enhancements with a landscaping team. Literally take 1 to 4 days on average. Fire pits, stone patio walkways, mini putting greens. It is literally replacing earth with earth, okay? These are not super crazy complex projects. The fire pits can literally be done in under 2.5 to 3 hours. You're just taking a shovel, you're literally digging a hole, you're assembling 2 layers of sand, stone, or rock, and then you're basically putting in a aluminum wire frame, a cylinder for your fire pit, and then you're just installing some bricks around it and done, right? You've got basically a smokeless fire pit or a smoked fire pit, whichever one you do. And then mini putting greens can be a little more intensive for certain. They definitely are more intensive. So there's multiple layers of items that need to be installed. You need to till and flatten the soil properly or flatten and level the land properly. So those are typically like 2, 3, sometimes 3, 4 day projects, depending upon the size. They can be a little bit longer. I think the longest I ever saw a team do was like 5, 6, 7 days. But there's nothing like super crazy about this. Like you're literally just calling the team saying, hey, can you do this? And you can have them break ground on the property while you're there visiting the home towards the end of the year. If they don't finish everything by the time that you leave, you can literally have them finish everything else in the next few days and they'll probably do a phenomenal job. So if you're on the fence and thinking about getting started with short-term rentals, I would use this as kind of like a framework for assessing, hey, what is the desired outcome that we're looking for? It's tax benefits and cash flow. This is like 90% of what everybody wants. So you need to get clear on, use that example for the cost seg study, bonus depreciation amount that you're actually able to take, and then what the net effective tax savings look like is going to be based on the tax bracket that you're in. So if you're interested, we can get on a call. I'm not your CPA. I don't represent myself as a CPA, enrolled agent, licensed tax advisor. I'm not going to give you tax advice, but we can show and model the ranges for cost segregations and bonus depreciation amounts that we get back from those cost seg studies, so you can start getting an idea of this 1-to-1 ratio that we want to play. So if $1 million home is going to save me $120,000, $130,000 on my tax bill, if it's $130,000 in net tax savings, what if I could get into that home for $100,000 down and no more than $20,000, $30,000 in closing costs, or $110,000, $115K down and no more than $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 in closing costs? This is almost a 1-to-1 ratio. The property is literally paid for itself. You took the net effective tax savings. It was literally almost identical to the amount that you wired into the home to close. Infinite money glitch game. You're playing in a tremendous game in real estate. Now, when you think about the post-close enhancements, which is, okay, how do I get this thing to cash flow? Everything after you close on the home and getting this thing designed and enhanced the right way is mission critical. And the best part is we have team members, or not team members rather, we have contractors that we have found in every area that we're in. They're not affiliated with us. They just do great work. We don't get any kickbacks or any incentives from them. They're not part of our company. We will literally pair you up with the best available general contractors, landscaping teams, designers, the co-hosts, the photographers, literally every party that you need. And again, it's just literally taking the guesswork and the legwork out of finding all that stuff. So if you are interested in getting into short-term rentals for the tax savings and the cash flow, highly recommend continuing to watch content on our channel. Check out mybnbaccelerator.com. Just Google us, literally go to our homepage right now. We have dozens of client testimonials, case studies, examples of deals that have already been live. We put out a few case studies of homes that actually performed above the projections that we made on the pro forma. I've highlighted these in some of our email sequences and some of our other YouTube videos. So continue checking out more content from us if you're trying to get clarity and certainty around doing this. And if you are ready to move on a deal in the next like 3 to 6 weeks, maybe 15 to 35, 45, 60 days, days, definitely click the link and schedule a call. You'll be speaking with me or my business partner, and we will make sure that we'll find and negotiate a deal for you. We'll make sure that you do it for the lowest money down, so we'll pay for ourselves multiple times over by working together, and then we'll support you with all the 5 or 6 different teams that you need post-close. So a general contractor, landscaping team, designers, photographers, co-host teams, anybody else that you need along the way. And then finally, we'll also help by supporting you and introduce you to a CPA or a couple of different CPAs who actually specialize in helping clients just like you with short-term rentals and the short-term rental tax strategy. Same thing with the cost segregation study. Just all these things where we've taken the legwork and the guesswork out of finding really, really good people in the space, and then as much as possible negotiated down their fees for you as well. So we pay for ourselves multiple times over. So we'd love to work with you. Continue watching content on the channel. Hope this is useful, and click the link somewhere around this video and schedule a time to speak. And we look forward to speaking with you soon.